I am immediately wary of sports articles that have a cutesy type of setup, but that is exactly what we have today. However, I think that the article itself does offer some sort of some insights to what the Chiefs' problems this season might be, if there are to be any actual problems. And I think that that is well within the bounds of worth talking about. And so ESPN gave us an article from Bill Barnwell, which is set up as well. I'll just let the article itself set. Well, no, I guess I have to. Every team is given a superlative, as in what the. Oh, no, I've got it here. Pardon me. I apologize. I'm a little off. NFL 2025 offseason, AFC's best and worst deals, picks, and more. Barnwell sets this up as May is graduation season, making it the perfect time to hand out superlatives to NFL teams, while with organizations having signed every free agent they wanted and delighted to have the best players on their board somehow fall to them in each round of April's draft. There are 32 teams that feel great about their rosters, where their rosters stand heading into training camps later this summer. It's very easy for them to be optimistic right now. What stood out about each franchise, how each franchise handled the offseason? How did teams fill the weak spots in their lineups? What was noticeable about the choices they did or did not make? And what does all this tell us about how they will do in 2025? I'm handing out superlatives and breaking down what I found interesting about the offseason of every AFC team. I'll hit the NFC next week. Let's begin with the AFC East. So by the time they get to the Kansas City Chiefs, this is what Barnwell had to say. The superlative: most likely to slide their pass protection to the left. An obvious jab at the left side of the Chiefs' offensive line. Barnwell goes on to state, for the second time in the Patrick Mahomes era, the Chiefs lost a Super Bowl in which their offensive line was overwhelmed by the opposing pass rush. General Manager Brett Veach responded to that first defeat by rebuilding the line with future standouts. He traded draft picks to acquire left tackle Orlando Brown Jr., signed top Patriots guard Joe Thuney, and drafted future stars in center Creed Humphrey and guard Trey Smith in 2021. Those four became the core of a great line that helped Kansas City make it to the past 3 Super Bowls. It's no surprise Veach reinvested in the offensive line this offseason, but the Chiefs' moves are a little more controversial this time around. After franchise tagging Smith, he traded Thuney to the Bears, getting a 4th-round pick for a player who was a first-team All-Pro in 2024, albeit a 32-year-old who was a year away from free agency. Thuney was overmatched in the Super Bowl at left tackle, but he's still an excellent, reliable guard. The additions are hardly sure things, especially for 2025. At left tackle, the Chiefs signed 49ers lineman Jalen Moore, who mostly served as Trent Williams' backup and has only 12 career starts, to a deal guaranteeing $21.2 million. There's nothing wrong with sitting behind a future Hall of Famer, but that's a lot of money for an inexperienced, unproven tackle, especially one who is expected to be protecting Mahomes' blind side Week 1. Andy Reid has earned some benefit of the doubt with offensive line evaluation, but defenses were able to overload Moore's plate at times last season. I would expect them to test Moore's ability to deal with duels and unexpected rushers early in 2025. The long-term answer might be rookie first-round pick Josh Simmons, but he is recovering from a torn patellar tendon. Simmons should be back at some point in 2025, but it might be more realistic for him to step in as a full-time starter in 2026. With no more guarantees in Jawan Taylor's deal after the upcoming season, It wouldn't surprise me to see the Chiefs cut their right tackle and play either Moore or Simmons on the right side in 2026. Then there's the guy taking over for Tooney. Kingsley Suamataia won the left tackle job last season as a rookie second-round pick, but was benched by Reed after Trey Hendrickson dominated him in Week 2. He played only 87 snaps after that, 31 of which came in the meaningless Week 18 loss to the Broncos, even though Wanya Morris was overmatched at left tackle. Reed wasn't interested in sticking his original starter back in the lineup, giving both DJ Humphries and Tooney opportunities once he benched Morris. Now, Suamataia is expected to move to left guard. While again acknowledging Reed's Hall of Fame credentials, the Chiefs will be replacing arguably their best lineman with a player who was benched last season and is now moving to a position he didn't play in college. Suamataia played guard in that Broncos loss, but if everything goes as planned, Kansas City's starting left guard and left tackle will have only combined 14 NFL starts. It's always fair to assume Mahomes and the Chiefs will find a way to overcome a weak spot on their roster as they did for most of last season. But the loss to the Eagles served as a reminder of how things can go wrong. Now, are the acknowledgments made in this article correct? Indeed, they are. The Chiefs didn't have a left tackle last season. The Chiefs traded away their left guard from last season, who ended up playing some left tackle. For the side of the line, which struggled last season, that is concerning. However, Jalen Moore looked better at left tackle, in the time that he did play last season than anyone on the Chiefs looked at left tackle during the time that they played last season. Number 2, I'm not sold on Kingsley Suamataia being awful. He was young for a rookie. He was playing left tackle, the most challenging spot on the offensive line. He was thrown into the fire. There is some reason he won that position coming out of camp. It seems to me that what happened in that game against Trey Hendrickson is that his confidence was absolutely crushed. That's something that's very hard to get back during the course of a season when your job is not to be aggressive, but to be, as an offensive lineman is, preventative. You are to prevent so the run game for an offensive lineman is aggressive, but in the most important faculty that the left tackle provides, which is pass blocking, it is a very passive type of activity. You don't go out and attack someone. You wait for someone to attack you, and you try to stop them from attacking someone else. That is the quarterback. So very difficult to reclaim your confidence during the course of a season doing something like that. I get it. And maybe he's not a left tackle. Kingsley Suamataia, maybe he's not a left tackle. He did look good in the running game, at least to me, and I'm no offensive line expert, but it is more important at offensive guard to be good with the running game than it is at left tackle. Juwan Taylor, for what I can tell, provides absolutely no positives in the running game. And he's going into his 3rd season starting at right tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he does a pretty decent job pass protecting. He's bad with run game, and he's bad with the yellow laundry game. But guys, if that's all it takes to keep you on the field is being good at one aspect, then their left tackle and left guard positions are probably going to get figured out. So here's what I want to do. We'll pretend Jalen Moore starts all 17 games during the regular season at left tackle. He's proven himself to be a serviceable guy while he's on the field. A little untested, yes. Not spectacular, no. But a serviceable guy. As long as the Kansas City Chiefs have serviceable on the field, Patrick Mahomes can elevate the level of play of everyone else on the field. And with the types of wide receivers that the Kansas City Chiefs have right now, a bunch of fast guys. It's possible that Andy Reid goes Mad Hatter the way he did a few seasons ago and just lets Patrick Mahomes go bombs away the way that bombs away Patrick has requested this offseason to do, but I don't think that's the case. They have spent 3 seasons now basically with a barren passing game that has emphasized quicker routes. If they have to do that, they'll do that. And they'll probably get to the Super Bowl anyway. So the left tackle position, in my opinion, is going to be more figured out than it was at any point last year. It's going to be more figured out than it was at any point last year when they made the Super Bowl. It's going to be more figured out than it was at any point, in my opinion, in the 2023 season when they won the Super Bowl. So I'm not that worried about the left tackle position because I've seen what Jalen Moore is capable of what Jalen Moore is capable. And if he's not starting, that means someone else is doing a better job than was Jalen Moore, which would be a good thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now let's talk about that left guard position. I think that Kingsley Suamataia does still offer a great deal of upside. This is going to be just his second year in the NFL. He has proven that he can be effective in the running game. He has proven that he can be on the... So we talk about the Bengals game an awful lot. We talk about the Trey Hendrickson game an awful lot. We talk about the fact that Kingsley Suamataia found his way off the field and onto the bench an awful lot. We don't talk very much about that Ravens game. We don't talk very much about week 1 last season in reference to Kingsley Suamataia. A game that the Chiefs won. A game where Kingsley didn't look half bad. I wouldn't say he looked like an all-star out there, but he didn't look terrible. He didn't, and it's also important to note the season that Trey Hendrickson had. Trey Hendrickson, who's always been, I thought Trey Hendrickson might have had the best, just to the naked eye, may have had the best season he's ever had last year. He just looked at times like a different animal than he's ever looked like in his career. He looked at times like he should be holding out this season in order to get one more great big payday. So let's just assume that no, Kingsley Suamataia might not be a left tackle. Might he have upside at guard? Yeah, I think he might. And if he doesn't, well, the Kansas City Chiefs still have a guy who started multiple games at left tackle for them, a guy who started multiple games at tackle the season before, a guy named Wanya Morris, a guy who's also very good in the running game, better in the running game. Both of these guys, I think, have the potential to be better in the running game than Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney was never a road grader in the running game. Both Kingsley Suamataia and Wanya Morris have road grader potential. Now, will they ever be Joe Thuney in the pass blocking game? I don't know. That is a much harder thing to say. The odds are no. That sucks, right? That hurts, right? Does it? How important is the left guard on your offensive line? Can you name the starting left guard from the Kansas City Chiefs' first Super Bowl win with Patrick Mahomes? Can you name the starting left guard from the 2018 season where the Chiefs the first time went to the AFC Championship game with Patrick Mahomes? Can you? Can you name the right guard? I'm not sure you can. What about C.J. Hansen, a guy who, if you're looking at him as an athlete, does look an awful lot like Joe Thuney. A guy who does look quick on his feet. A guy who does look like he could be a superior pass blocker from the offensive guard position. His measurables, in my opinion, say that he has upside at tackle. I don't think we've ever seen him take reps at tackle, even in the training camp scenario, but I think that he offers that upside. What about Hunter Nourzad? Hunter Nourzad, who has played a few reps, was a center and a guard in college, and I think definitely has starting potential in the NFL. He's a guy who a lot of people, when he was coming out, said might have been one of the better guard tackle or guard center prospects in the draft. A lot of people said he was probably a third rounder. Third rounder, center or guard are guys that start in the NFL. So I do think that he has upside as well, and he looked competent when we saw him during the regular season. Competent may not sound like a ringing endorsement, but it was competent as a rookie. The Chiefs just signed, and this might be the worst sign on the day here, just signed a guy. The reason I say it might be the worst sign on the day here is that it might be a sign that they are not completely comfortable at guard, but they did just sign a guy named Tremaine Ankrum who has starting experience in the NFL. Not the biggest signing in the world, but a guy who could offer depth, a guy who could offer upside on the bottom end of the Chiefs roster, etc. What about Mike Caliendo? Mike Caliendo had some rough days last year, but he has also taken a whole lot of serviceable reps at guard. Dalton Cooper, the UDFA out of Oklahoma State, I think offers a lot of upside on the offensive line. I think that he's going to be an NFL guy. I think he's more of a tackle than a guard, but maybe he can make that transition inside. Ethan Driscoll, the absolutely massive UDFA from last season out of Marshall, played tackle in college, hasn't really played tackle in the NFL, but that's where he's lined up. That's where he's listed. And I think he offers an awful lot of upside at the offensive guard position. When I look at his feet, I'm not sure he's a tackle, but I think he could be a guard, be a very tall guard, but a guard nonetheless. Here is a dark horse option at the position. Maybe you're not comfortable with Josh Simmons playing the left tackle role for you. Pretend Josh Simmons enters the season healthy. He's ready and raring to go week 1, snap 1, but he is a rookie. He is coming off of some missed time. He is returning from an injury. Maybe the Chiefs don't feel all that comfortable with Josh Simmons running out there at the left tackle position, or the right tackle position for what that's worth. What if he's still good enough to be on the field? Mightn't a guy like Josh Simmons spend his rookie season or some part of his rookie season at offensive guard? I don't think that is outside of the realm of possibilities. I don't think either that would be a bad sign for the development of Josh Simmons. Would you like, in the best case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs, is Josh Simmons ready and raring to go week 1, snap 1, and he starts at left tackle? Yeah, maybe. He was a first rounder. That gives you half a decade of starting potential from your left tackle. The second best the second best scenario for him might be starting left guard. It gets him on the field. He's responsible for knowing the playbook. It tests out his knee. It keeps him fit and active. And then maybe next season he graduates, if you will, to one of these offensive tackle positions. I don't think that is all too outlandish a scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs. Especially if he's not going to start at left tackle, why not get him on the field? The last name on this list is Esapole, the Washington State offensive tackle. I don't think Esapole is an offensive guard. I don't think he necessarily offers upside at offensive guard. I think that he is a tackle prospect. I think that he is ultimately going to be an NFL guy. I do think probably he spends his rookie season on the practice squad. And hopefully he doesn't flash too much in the preseason, because if he does, I don't think he would last on the practice squad very long. I think that is why we saw Ethan Driscoll on the 53 the entire season versus spending time on the practice squad himself, because those guys don't last there very long. Another team will come along and pluck them up, because offensive line is it's not a position, it's half of your starting offense, right? And probably you keep 8, 9, 10 offensive linemen on your active roster. So any of these other teams that see guys who are NFL guys, who are 53-man guys, or who will eventually be 53-man guys on a practice squad, they're very, very happy to take those players off of your hands. So I think, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10 names. That is an entire depth chart of offensive linemen worth of names that are not starting. All of these names are outside, well, 9 of these names, because one of them has to start. 9 of these names are outside of the starting lineup purview for the Kansas City Chiefs. I have faith that in one of them there will be competent left guard play. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.